during the break before Troy Aikman, the big trade in the NBA has in fact hit. James Harden is in fact a Philadelphia 76er, and Ben Simmons and Seth Curry and Andre Drummond and 2 first-rounders going to Brooklyn so they can bring James Harden and Paul Millsap from the Brooklyn Nets. And we figured to help break it down is the nearest beard we could find. And he just happens to be our next guest who got here nice and early. He is a Pro Football Hall of Famer, Charles Woodson. How are you, Charles?
Rich, I'm doing well, man. How are you?
I'm great. What do you think of the trade? What do you think of this trade?
I think it's awesome because, a lot of times you get to the trade deadline and nothing happens. Right. You kind of let down. Right. So this is great. I think it's great for us as fans. But then in terms of the teams, I think this is a great trade for the Brooklyn Nets if you can get something out of Ben Simmons, because we really don't know what's going on with Ben Simmons. We don't. Like, was he hurt? Is it mental? So is he going to all of a sudden come into the gym and just start running the show? Like, how's this thing going to work? But in terms of what it adds to that team, a big point guard, long, great on the defensive end of the floor. You don't have to worry about him shooting the ball like he wouldn't do, right? Because you got guys for that. Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. Those are the guys that you want with volume shots. And then I think the biggest piece of this is Seth Curry. You look at the series last year against the Bucks. We all expected that Joe Thomas would be the guy that he's going to be open, he's going to drain shots. He couldn't hit a shot, and all of a sudden this game goes to 7. They can't pull out a win. Seth Curry is going to be able to make shots. Right. So I think in terms of the Brooklyn Nets, I think this was a great trade for them.
Yeah, you could. And Harris is out for the season, right?
Yeah, Joe Harris is out for a while. On that mental health point, Charles, Ramona Shelburne just tweeted as well that Simmons is going to continue to work with his therapist to get mentally ready to play. Quote, "It's a work in progress." He's thrilled with the change of scenery and has already spoken to Kevin Durant.
But can he work while he's getting mental health?
Look, and this is a very thorny subject, as you know, and we all know. And Calvin Ridley missed much of the season. And Lane Johnson missed some games in Philadelphia. Just on the NFL front this year, our friend Jay Glazer has written a terrific book on the subject matter of getting rid of the gray and trying to have blue sky days. And it's a very serious subject matter. And we're back here on the Rich Eisen Show terrestrial radio outfit. Charles Woodson is here chopping up the trade of James Harden to Philadelphia, and Ben Simmons and Seth Curry and Andre Drummond and picks going to Brooklyn. That, if all of a sudden Simmons shows up like, hey, I'm ready to play basketball, it's like, well, what was the mental health about, Ben? And so the first reaction that he's still working with a therapist, I'll be honest with you, I'm kind of pleased to hear that, because the last thing I want to do is have anybody ever look at somebody and saying, what's that mental health about?
Yeah, but then if you come back and you're inserted right into the lineup, how do you explain it?
Exactly. You can't.
That's the thing. Like, we're all sympathetic. I don't know what he's going through. The two things you don't know, it's what's going on in the man's head and what's going on in his house.
Right.
But if you come back and immediately you're playing, you got to kind of explain what was going on for the first half of the season. Why couldn't you come back and play? Like that, that's the gray area that we're dealing with right now. So
and everyone was just assuming it was whatever was going on in Philadelphia, and that might have lent to it. And now he's going to New York, which is not for the wallflowers.
It doesn't get easier.
It does not. It does not. But the good thing is that whereas in Philadelphia at times it's like he's got to be the one to make the shots. Now he doesn't. Now he can actually fill the role, and he's an extremely talented kid. But as you point out, it could be Seth Curry. That could be the key to this deal too.
Well, and then on the flip side, he wasn't taking shots in Philly, but now you get a guy who takes some shots. Mm-hmm. He wasn't as dominant in Brooklyn as he was in Houston in his stop before that, but James Harden is a guy that he can take over a game. And I just think that's what they're looking for in that position from an offensive side. Now, he's not going to give you that same defense that Ben Simmons will give you, but offensively, you pair a guy up with Embiid, who is by all accounts, from what I hear and what I watch, he's the MVP of the league. And
that's what we were talking about here on this show, right, TJ? He's the MVP of the Philadelphia 76ers, not the league.
Right now.
Right, I know.
Yeah.
With no help.
He's unstoppable.
And Seth Curry is no longer on Doc Rivers' team, huh, Chris?
And he might. And Thanksgiving's going to be
no longer on the Christmas wish list.
Thanksgiving's going to be very awkward for them.
Is Doc's son-in-law.
But Doc's already traded his actual own son.
Yeah, so
in Los Angeles.
In all fairness, Seth should have seen this coming because Doc has traded his own son.
Right. His son, Doc has now been part of a trade of his son and son-in-law. Does he have anybody else that he could trade?
Nothing is sacred. I don't know.
Well, that's a heck of a Thanksgiving tale, right?
Well, could you imagine all of them together today, and all of a sudden this comes across the ticker, and everybody's looking at each other like, you did this to me.
How Daryl Morey must be out of his mind excited right now.
Feels like it.
Because they could have just cut out the Brooklyn middleman last year, right? Am I wrong?
Because he didn't want to trade Ben Simmons at the time.
Well, I mean, it may not have been him. Could have been somebody else, but he held out. He stood pat the entire time.
Yeah.
Now, hey, look. Now it's also on Harden.
Yep.
Right?
He's got to show and prove.
It's now. This is like, how many more times has this man been acquired by a team? Can a man be acquired by a team by saying missing piece, championship, and then not at all, right?
And then basically force your way out to another team,
right?
But once you get there, what are you going to do?
Well, at least he didn't eat his way out of this one, right? I did say that.
You did.
Fat suit.
I did say that.
We think that he was just layered up for that one picture.
I think
What do you
so,
mean?
but it just looked like he was.
What are you talking about?
Well, remember that
20
picture
pounds
before
extra.
he got traded to Brooklyn? It looked like he put on about 30, and then like 3 days later, it was like, wait a second.
Gone.
It's gone.
Where'd all the weight go?
Are you TJ Jefferson, Chris Brockman? By the way, 2/3 of the Rich Eisen Show basketball podcast were all podcasts.
Well, we talked all about this.
You're welcome. You're welcome to be a guest, Charles
You are
Woodson.
saying to Charles Woodson here that you believe at one point James Harden was so wanting out of Houston, he put on an actual fat suit for a game and played in a fat suit for a game.
No, not a fat suit.
Is that what you're saying?
No, not a fat suit.
I think he's not ruling it out.
Like Nutty Professor, like Eddie Murphy and the Nutty Professor.
I think he layered up though. He layered up.
Ruling it out. No.
Like Mike Myers and
Right?
Get in my belly.
Get in my belly.
Right.
Get in.
I don't know if we can say that on TV.
So Charles, you believe that this? You said how you feel this trade's going to affect the Nets. What about the Sixers? How do you see this?
That's what I was saying. I think with Harden, we always talk about having, a big three, but I think in terms of Harden and Embiid together, like that's enough, of a duo, to really cause damage if you get the Harden that will go and take over a game. Because we really hadn't seen, the Harden, that we used to see prior to going to Brooklyn, like really taking over games. And then, with him, I mean, got the hamstring, he forced his way out, right? But so is he healthy? Is he going to be able to play down the stretch?
We just established he's a man who looked fat one day and then was an all-star the next.
That's not good for your hammies.
No, I'm just
not good
saying.
for the hammies.
Has there ever been a team that averages on a nightly basis a third to maybe 40% of their points from the free throw line? Because
Between Embiid and Harden now? Yeah.
Are there two guys who get to the line more in the NBA than these two guys? I mean, Embiid like over his stretch in January, he averaged like 15, 20 made free throws a night. Yeah. Well, it's because I guess everything was going through him and he's playing Orlando, and it was, no offense, because I know that's, your neck of the woods.
Yeah.
But, I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, me too.
And if the basketball gods smile upon us, first round matchup, Sixers and Nets. If there is a way that we can make this happen,
First round? Nah.
I don't know. If the Nets won't fall into the play-in,
Nets
right?
like 7 now?
Nets won't fall in the play-in, and then the Nets get in the play-in and wind up, and the Heat are the 1 seed, so it's not like, the Sixers are guaranteed to be the 1.
Yeah, the top 6 teams in the East decided by 4 games separate them.
Right.
Brooklyn currently 8th.
There you go. Why not?
Brooklyn's at 8 now.
Yeah.
So why can't?
I mean, there's only 5 games separating one from.
They've lost
So
8
I
in a
know.
row.
So it all gets ordered.
They've lost 9 in a row.
9 in a row?
Brooklyn.
Right. So Brooklyn gets its act together. Let's just say maybe gets up to the 6 seed, and the Sixers, based on all the ordering, wind up in the 3 seed. 3 versus 6. Here we go.
76ers.
Do you want it right off the bat, though?
Why not?
First round?
Oh, pieces. I like my steak served first up. Paired with some
76ers started the day 13-1 to win the title. Now 7-1.
I want it paired with the intercept wine. That's why I like my steak.
Intercept wine. What a lovely plug.
The tougher the opponent, the more you need a game plan. BioNTech and Pfizer remind you to consider getting vaccinated against COVID-19. So, hour number 3, your conversation with, we were expected to have you. We appreciate you sitting down nice and early.
Yep.
And Dak Prescott in studio. Hour number 3. That's the way we're rolling here on the Rich Eisen Show. Still here on Peacock, though, for another couple of minutes. All right, this is wild. I'm not used to talking basketball during an NBA, during a Super Bowl week.
No.
But I'm also not used to parenting during a Super Bowl week either, because I'm home.
All-star dad. All-star dad.
That's what I am. I'm a Pro Bowl dad. Yeah. Do you think we should change the Pro Bowl rules? What do you think? What do you think?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah, I think, it's a vacation, for guys.
Yeah.
You can do, whatever competition drills you want to. Mm-hmm. And let the guys come, bring their families, have a good time, have things set up for them to do. But the actual game, guys now, man, are protective of their brand. Mm-hmm. They're very smart. They're protective of their bodies. Mm-hmm. And nobody's going out there trying to go full bore and hit anybody. They're just not going to do it anymore. So there's no way you're going to be able to bring that back. That is gone. That train has left the station. And you can hear the guys coming out now, the tweets, some of the tweets you've seen. It's like, man, why would we do that? So change it.
Just get rid of the game.
Get rid of the game. Do some type of skills competition. They throw the ball, hitting targets.
Right,
maybe do the fastest man contest, like a legitimate one where Tyreek actually runs.
Right.
Something to that effect. Of course, do some things in the community with charity and those sorts of things. But the actual game, if you want to do a 7-on-7, like some type of flag, do that. But the hitting, they're not going to do it.
I got a minute left here. Did you ever lay someone out in the Pro Bowl?
Absolutely not.
You never did that.
I didn't want to hit nobody either. To me, I play on the outside, so it's really for the DBs and the wide receivers. It's a skill competition with us. Like you're guarding the guy, you want to let him know, hey man, I'm the best at what I do. You think you're the best at what you do, but once you get into the interior, where things get tight, there's only a rare, there's a couple of guys. Sean Taylor was famous for his hit on the kicker. You got a few guys that don't mind; they'll just go whatever. But for the most part, it's not happening.
The doc you and Brady did with NFL Films on ESPN about the tuck rule is one of the best football documentaries I've ever seen. It is that good.
Wow.
Well, not only because it's so well done, NFL Films doing their thing, but it's you sitting down with Tom Brady, going over one of the most famous plays in the history of the NFL playoffs, and it's real talk between the two of you guys.
Yeah.
Right?
It was, and it's funny because over the years, I've had so many people that have walked up to me and said, hey, man, have you and Tom ever talked about that play? And it's like, no, like really, why would we? The play happened. It's not as if Tom made the call. He was just part of the play. So there's really no reason to talk to him and be like, hey, Tom, man, you made the wrong call. He didn't make it. But as time went on, we both got approached, NFL Films. Let's talk about the play. And he was in, I was in, and we sat down, man, and we had a lot of fun, talking about it. But what I will say is, I tweeted this the other day, is that I'm not a lawyer, but I do have my doctorate of laws from the University of Michigan.
Yes.
I won the case. Hey, you guys watched it. Did you hear him?
Well,
fumble. It slipped out of him, but that was the truth. That was the truth spilling out of him.
So, again, your position is even with the rule being what it was, you still think it's a fumble or what? Because the rule at the time made it clear that if you are bringing the ball down in the process of bringing it down and the ball comes loose, that's considered an incomplete pass, which is absurd because, as I was saying for years, and Mike Pereira, the head of NFL refs at the time, was countering that it removes the gray area from whether it's a pass or not. I'm like, actually, you're creating the gray area.
Right.
that there's no more of a clear indication I do not intend to throw than by tucking the football. So the immediate process of tucking makes you a runner, and that should be a fumble.
100%.
That's it. End of story. And this entire documentary is the gray area. And two greats involved in an all-time play. It is just, you're arguing gray area. And I'm just thinking to myself, my kids, when they grow up and see this stuff, they'll be like, wait a minute.
What are you talking about?
Exactly.
Yeah, what are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
And the way they always start the argument is that his arm was going forward. Well, at which point his arm's not going forward. It's no longer a pass or an attempt to pass. If you're attempting to tuck the ball back under, even if you're attempting, even if you don't get it all the way back to the body. And like I explained in the documentary, I said, Tom, once you got the ball here, you've never thrown the ball downfield down here.
Right.
You're bringing that ball back. It doesn't matter what happened beforehand. It's a fumble. Like, that just is what it is. And so everybody, oh, well, that was the rule. And, maybe it was a fumble, but that was the rule. Mm-hmm. Dude, I don't care about a rule. You ever heard rules were meant to be broken? There's no argument for bringing the ball back, slapping it out, fumble, it's over.
But then you guys are like going at it about, Tom brought it, it never hit his second hand, and if it had touched his second hand, then obviously now he becomes a runner and he wouldn't have been able to get out.
So he made up his own rule. So if both of your hands touch the ball, that constitutes as a fumble.
So when it was all over and the shoot was over, how did it end between the two of you?
I gave him a bottle of whiskey and he was on his way. I was on my way. That was it.
What did you think when Tom walked out and he was wearing the Super Bowl ring from that year?
That was harsh. That was harsh.
Knife to the
stomach. That was just right in the face, like a little knife in the gut. It's like, man, it's like the song, "It's supposed to be me. You're supposed to be me."
Did you know he was bringing a Super Bowl ring that day? Did you know that?
No, I did not.
And do you know how many people think it was Brady's house that you shot this in? It was not his house, correct? That you shot this in?
Oh, it was not. It was not. I think we saved him though, because if that was his house, you'd probably have people riding by, spray paint tuck rule on his house. We don't want that. We don't want that, Rich.
Who won the pool game? Did Brady end up beating you?
I got crushed.
Oh,
yeah. I was caught up in the moment.
Didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
He was in your head?
He was in my head. He got in my head. I was trying to explain what would happen if it went the other way, and I'm trying to shoot. Yeah, he got me.
Well, the two parts of this documentary that really, one I didn't know. Well, all of them I didn't realize, and then one I didn't know. The one I didn't know is Eric Allen, your teammate, and the play before the tuck, and the play before Brady's running out of bounds. Mm-hmm. And Eric Allen saw Charlie Weiss, the OC, go up to Tom and basically, have an opportunity with his young quarterback to physically face-to-face tell him what we're going to do next.
Yeah.
And Eric hid behind the
just waiting in the week.
He hid behind the official and heard what the next play call was going to be.
So just inconspicuously, he's standing on their sideline. Yeah. And so what's interesting is that when he came to the huddle, he was like explaining what they were going to do.
Right.
But we were like, how do you know that, right? Hey, this is what the team's going to do. And we're like, really? Okay. So the way they lined up, it was set up for that because it was 3-by-1 single receiver side, and it's like, damn, he's gonna try to throw it, and EA's gonna pick it, and so that's the thing that gave me time to get there, and that's what made him bring the ball back down. That's what caused the fumble.
So he brings the ball back down because he sees if I let it go, it's a pick.
Oh, it's a picked off.
But the fact that he saw that and that option was taken away immediately allowed you the time to get to him.
That's it. 100%.
And so he told this to you in the huddle, and you called that defense specifically based on his information?
No. We the play, they called the play. It was a blitz on, and so for me lining up the way I did, I tried to line up as wide as I could, just to make it seem like I'm lined up over the receiver. I have the receiver as man to man, to just kind of get out of his purview, and play snap. I'm coming from out wide, so. He, brings the ball back down. I'm there. I got time to get there because EA's sitting there waiting for this ball to release out of his hand. So if he throws the ball, EA is going 60 yards the other way.
And the other thing I didn't realize is you hit him in the head. And then Brady, when the ball was out,
He kicked him right in the
right. Who did he trip? He tripped.
It was Beekert.
He tripped Beekert trying to go recover it.
Yeah.
Who ended up recovering, right? He
Beekert recovered it.
Actually got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
basically, it's 2-1.
What's the other one?
What's the initial fumble?
Initial fumble. Yeah.
That's what he's saying.
Yeah.
I mean, it really was well done.
It was.
And
It was
great.
a lot of fun. And
it was great.
Yeah.
So
I wasn't expecting some of the names to pop. I mean, Walt Coleman, the actual referee from the game in the documentary, he was great.
There's no intent in the rule. I'm so thankful this thing's out of the rule book. It's just such a dumb conversation. It's just a dumb conversation. Was he bringing it down? Was he not? That's the act of going from here, doing this, regardless if it's forward or not, is a clear indication I no longer intend to throw. And that's what I was telling Pereira for all those years. And guess what happened? They took the rule out. You're welcome.
You know what, Rich?
You're welcome.
Thank you.
I'm a factor.
Thank
That's all
you.
I'm trying to say, Charles.
You're a force.
I'm a force.
You're a force.
With which to be reckoned.
That's right.
Okay, let's talk about what's the knock on the door for Hall of Fame fans that you're going to be part of right here. Fans have a chance to be repped in the Hall of Fame?
In the Hall of Fame, man, just like all of the legends of the game.
Okay.
They'll have a display in Canton. And every year you have fans that are nominated. And you know what? They get a knock.
From you?
Somebody gets a knock.
You do the knocking?
They get a knock. I'll let you know, hey, you're in the Ford Hall of Fans.
Wow.
How cool is that for the fans?
There you go.
That's awesome.
You get the knock.
Yeah.
And then at the Porsche Experience Center in Carson, California, you're founding partner of the annual culinary kickoff that's going down tonight.
Yeah.
It's always a great event. The food is amazing. The wine that you pour is amazing.
Great wine and food experience. Raises a lot of money for culinary students. Michael Mina, Charlie Palmer, who are the headline chefs. They always bring in local chefs, whatever city that we're in. Chrissy DeLisle from the DeLisle Group, puts this. She started this years ago. Her, Marshall Falk, and I was kind of brought in. To tag along.
Well, we needed the wine, Charles.
Got to bring some wine. Got to bring the great wine, man. Little Intercept wine now. So it's a great event. It's been going on the last 8 years, and it's one of the best events I think that I attend during Super Bowl week.
And it's awesome. And whenever I can make it, that I love being there, and it's a great event. Who do you think wins this game? What do you got for me on Sunday?
I like the Rams.
Why?
I like the Rams. I like the Rams really for because of one player. I just have the utmost respect.
99 or 5?
It's 99.
Okay.
99 is when you look at this Bengals team and the thing that they struggle with, of course, it's defensive line play, being able to get to him. We know what happened in Tennessee. They were able to get to him a bunch of times. But Aaron Donald is just a different deal. He can take this game over. And I think that if he can get to Joe Burrow multiple times, which I think that he will, I think that'll be the thing that'll get to Joe Burrow. Like, I think that magic will run out in terms of taking the beating that he's taken and continuing to just make plays down the field. Then, of course, the rest of the guys along with him, Leonard Floyd, Von Miller has played lights out in the playoffs, Jalen and those guys. And how about Eric Weddle, a veteran in the backfield?
How amazing is that, going from the couch to the Super Bowl?
It's amazing, couch to the Super Bowl, and actually getting minutes. Like, we all thought maybe he'd get, 10, 15 plays. No, he's playing the whole game.
He won't be taken off.
Yeah. No. So I like it because of the defensive side of the ball, and in particular, Aaron Donald and what I think the disruption they'll cause on that offense.
Yeah, the sense is he's going to hit Burrow so many times, one of his nines is going to wind up next to one of Burrow's.
Wow.
That's the general sense of this thing right now. Do you like that one?
I would like that.
Take it. Take that to the culinary dinner. Take that one. Say, hey, I got an idea. That is what I'm
a little magic trick out there.
Yeah,
cool.
One of his nines are going to come off and just get right on next to his.
That.
That's the idea for that sort of thing. But and then Odell, what he's doing too for the Rams.
Yeah, happy for Odell. Happy for Matthew Stafford. I've played, against Matthew Stafford. Always had a lot of respect for him. He's a tough quarterback, gifted, arm throwing wise, and You know what? You come out of, Detroit. Detroit's had two of the all-time greats that left the team early after 10 years, Calvin Johnson, Barry Sanders. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't all on Matthew Stafford. Like, they have some other things organizationally that they have to, fix and right. And here he comes into the Rams, his first year there, they're in the Super Bowl because he is a good quarterback. And then Odell, he's just proven that he's still one of the best receivers in the game. Mm-hmm. He's taken a hit, in terms of media-wise, what he is and what he isn't. But this guy is a world-class, wide receiver. And if he gets the matchups, mm-hmm. they're paying attention to Cooper Kupp, and he's on the outside by himself. They don't have anybody on the outside that can play with Odell, I don't believe so. Put all the attention on Kupp. Odell should have a good game.
Okay. Before I let you go, what happened at Michigan in the last month? What happened? Do we know? Do you know?
I have no idea what happened, but it was the weirdest week of football that I'd ever witnessed at Michigan. The coach is interviewing National Signing Day or whatever, mm-hmm. goes to interview for another job. He comes back, nope, I'm never looking at the NFL again. I want to coach Michigan. And then the offensive coordinator leaves, and then he writes a nasty little letter. I'm not respected here, and he's going to Miami for the same position. It's like, what are we doing? So I'm clueless to how that all worked out, but you know what? Still had a good class of recruits.
Seems like it.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Man, you just got to bring guys in that know how to coach.
Yeah, I know. And if there's anybody who could put this toothpaste, the Amazing Blue toothpaste back in the tube, it's our guy Jim Harbaugh. That I believe. But I imagine he's going to deal with at least a year or two of coaches who are coming next in the living room saying, who was just here? Was that the guy who went and talked to Minnesota?
Right.
We're not doing that.
Right.
Even though they might then turn around the next day and actually do that. You know what I'm saying? But
well, I think he tried to clear it up by saying, you know what, I'm done looking at the NFL. So now, you go into, a parent's or the kid's home, you're saying, I'm done with the NFL. I'm going to be here for your son. So let's hope that's the truth.
How great would it be if they beat Ohio State again next year? Because all Ohio State fans, you must see them all the time. You must know them. You must run into them. You must hear from them. They all think last year was a fluke. Jim just screwed it all up because he went and talked and had just lost these coordinators, and we're all in disarray. Right. Go back in there in the horseshoe and do it for a second straight time. Honestly, I don't know how they would be able to handle that.
Well, I know how I would be able to handle it. I'd handle it very well, Rich.
I would. Oh, by the way, I was living my best life here. Honestly,
it felt good, didn't it?
Oh, God.
Charles, you have no idea how much trash this guy was talking.
Oh, it was great.
The entire show, I bet. The entire show.
Charles, like a month. There was a Rich Eisen who had never existed before. Rich, who had his own TV show and had Michigan beat Ohio State and had Ohio State become a basketball school and Notre Dame become a stepping stone.
Because they beat Duke in basketball. The Buckeyes 3 days later. I congratulated them on being a basketball school. It's great.
Notre Dame's
guy left. Notre Dame is clearly a stepping stone job. I was just, oh God.
It was the best Rich Eisen ever.
Oh, it was great.
Hey, man, when you have your time to shine, man, you got to let it.
Thank you.
You got to let it go.
shine.
You gotta let
Charles,
it go.
he was saying it with his chest for like a month straight.
This little heart of mine.
I love it. Oh my God. Hey,
yes.
go blue, baby.
Go blue to you.
Go blue.
Charles Woodson here on the Rich Eisen Show. Great to see you. InterceptWines.com. Is that where you can go to see your...
CWInterceptWines.com.
Very good. For your
WoodsonWhiskey.com.
There you go.
Is the other.
Oh, this man,
Check
exactly how to roll. At Charles Woodson on Twitter and Instagram as well, right here on the Rich Eisen Show. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.